Hi everyone, welcome to the first official live of Pluma Studio Films. Today I decided to go live because we just hit 1,000 subscribers, and so it's a small milestone, but I decided that I'm just gonna go live so you guys can, um, so I can officially like introduce myself, talk about a little bit more of what Pluma Studio Films really is, and talk about some other things and answer any questions you guys have. So if you have any questions now or later or any comments, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I'll try to respond to them by the end of this live. But today, I just want to first kind of give a little shout out to everyone who has been with Pluma from the very beginning. So first off, like my parents, my sister, my brothers, my older brothers, my sisters-in-law, um, everyone who has participated on any of the films that I've done so far as Pluma Studio Films. So that includes anyone from my very first film, which was Expectations, then It Takes One, Chirp After Christmas, and the film that we just did. It's not out yet, but the But I'm Trying film, which will be out after this live, um, soon after this live. But um, everyone who's participated in all of those, cast, crew, anyone who helped with those, I just want to shout all of those people out. And everyone who is on the live right now, shout out to you guys for being here. Thank you so much. And anyone who is going to come on and watch later. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, so as far as the 1,000 subscribers, it's definitely a big jump for me, and for Pluma, it's definitely big motivation to um, keep keep pushing and keep pushing more things out for you guys and things like that. But I'm gonna get into kind of introducing myself and then about Pluma. So if you don't know me already, or if you haven't seen some of the videos that have me in them on the Pluma page, my name is Telia Griffin. I'm 19 years old currently, and I am producer, screenwriter, editor, director. Everything you see on Pluma Studio Films is pretty much created by me, unless otherwise, if I can have someone else help me out. But everything is created by me, and Pluma was kind of an idea, or not an idea, but when I was still in school, I had a class and we had an assignment where we kind of had to create our own like um, company or whatever, and so that's kind of where the original idea of having my own like production company kind of started. And it wasn't called Pluma Studio Films at first, but then I recently changed the name. Some of you, if you were here like from the very very beginning, it used to be called Tag Productions, I think. And if you were here in the beginning, you would have seen that and saw that I changed that name and everything. But um, now I've kind of like pushed into kind of developing this production company studio a little bit more, and so that's why I've been creating my own films and kind of just establish myself in the filmmaking world. Um, and so, what Pluma is, if we want to go into more details, you can also check out this like on our website on the About page. You can kind of see a little bit of the details of what Pluma is supposed to be. But in short, Pluma is supposed to be um, a sort of production company that is looking to create a different kind of film, which is kind of the slogan for Pluma. And what that really means is just taking it. You Most people would probably categorize it as like faith based, but I wouldn't necessarily categorize categorize it as faith based. But um, like the types of films that I'm looking to like create are things that are you know, clean, like the films that are like clean, like avoiding all of the anything like inappropriate and things like that, but also not only it being that, and this is why I say it's not necessarily faith based, is because it's not that every film is not going to be like about faith necessarily, but it is, since I'm mostly the one writing the film, it is being told from like a faith-based perspective, um, which is there's a big difference there because people may think a lot of people will immediately like you know not watch a movie or something just because it's faith-based because they think it's just gonna be you know talking about like faith and things like that, but um, what the films that I'm pushing for is to still have that like faith-based point of view and perspective on life, but being told in a way that's just like real and realistic and just talking about different themes and like really in depth, going in depth on like characters and things like that, and just like the storytelling aspect of um, the films. And so you may not even realize for some of these films that they would be like from a faith-based perspective. You wouldn't even notice, honestly. But yeah, that's a little bit about kind of what Pluma is pushing for. You can ask any questions about that, and I'll try to answer in a little bit more detail. And you can also check that out on our website at plumastudioFilms.com. And so a little bit more about me. I got into filmmaking in 2021 and through my film class, and from there I kind of just really like dove into mostly the writing side of film. And with that being said, um, it also pushed me into directing and producing and things like that, especially because um, as a writer, you tend to want to um, have this like grasp over your stories sometimes. And so I had my very first story idea, which I'll talk about later, um, was really the one that was like really important to me and I felt like really close to. And so I had this dilemma where I didn't want anyone to like steal that from me. And so I was like, I want to produce this myself. And so that's kind of how I got more into like directing and producing and things like that. And now we're here with Pluma Studio Films. Um, so yeah, let's see. And so I see you guys' comments. I'll get to your comments in a minute, but thank you guys for commenting. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of talk about um, what the future kind of looks like for Pluma. Um, so and this is not just because we hit 1K or anything like that. These are things that you know are in the works already. But future projects, because people ask me about this all the time. So the first one I want to note is, of course, the film that we just finished um, shooting, which is the But I'm Trying short film. Um, I'll pull that up for you guys. Let's see. Okay, I don't have the image on me right now, but But I'm trying short film is just about a boy who is kind of struggling to find out how to like make a living in the filmmaking industry, but also is kind of tailoring his methods based on his like parents' um, opinions and things like that. Um, but then on the other hand, his parents don't really see the work that he's doing to get to the point that he needs to be. And so that film, if you're on our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, maybe TikTok, like you can see on there any like updates for like upcoming projects and things like that. And all of those, the handle I'll put it in the chat is they're all under Pluma Studio Films. That's the username that you guys can look if you want to see any updates on projects and things like that. I'll put that in the chat right now. So if you guys want to see any updates on projects, or if you're like actors or crew or anyone like that who is interested in, if any of you guys are interested in participating in a Pluma film, then you can go to our socials and check that out, or you can email at Pluma Studio Films, um, Pluma Studio Films at gmail.com for any to submit anything for that. Let's see. So the But I'm Trying short film is the one that will be coming out soon. And then after that, I have a couple more projects that I want to mention. I'm not going to go into too much detail yet, but we have some very big things coming up soon. So the first one I want to mention is a feature film, and I know I did a poll on Instagram and YouTube, and you should be able to still vote on this on YouTube. But there's a poll on the YouTube page where I asked what kind of content you guys were interested in seeing in the future. And the majority of people were voting on feature film. And my I'm very glad that you guys want to see a feature film. Um, and I have one in the works for you guys. It is still in development, but I've already completed the first draft, and I'm gonna pull that up for you guys in a second. Okay, so you should see on the screen now. This is the feature film that I'm currently working on. It's been in development. I started this about a year ago, I think, and so I've been working on it since then. In addition to everything else, this will be the very first feature film that I have completed, script wise, and I've already submitted it to one competition, which is the a small competition, but it's the Wiki Screenplay competition, and um, it made it to the semifinals. It was just the first. I only submitted the first draft, so it's still in the works. But I got some really good scores on that one. I'm really thankful that it made it to the semifinals. For me, being such a new writer, um, it, it's definitely a motivation to keep working on it. But that one is definitely coming soon, and for any of the projects that I mentioned, you guys, if you're interested or um, are wanting to contribute to any funding or anything like that for any of the projects, or to just Pluma Studio Films in general, I have a QR code on the screen. I'll leave that up for the whole live that you guys can scan, and it'll just take you to a donation page if you guys want to um, help contribute to the development of Pluma Studio Films. And so, yeah, And so let me tell you guys a little bit what Able is about. So I'll just read the kind of log line for it. If you don't know what a log line is, it's basically just a 1 to 2 sentence summary of what like a film or a series is about. So the log line for Abel is forced into the city after his mother's accident. A reclusive country boy must adapt to cover her medical bills or face imprisonment. Now that is still in the works, but that is generally what Abel is about. And I can definitely tell you now, it is probably not something you would expect it to be. It's a very realistic, just kind of grounded drama. We got a little bit of romance, and it's just about kind of a, like someone taking a leap into an unfamiliar territory, and just kind of like surviving and growing. It's what you call a coming of age story. So that's going to be the feature film that's probably going to come out the soonest. So I'm really excited for that. I hope you guys are excited for that too. Um, and then the next project I want to mention is another feature film. It's not as developed as Able is currently, but I want to just mention it. Let's see. So another feature film that I'm currently developing is definitely this one I'm excited for. It this is what I would call a faith-based film, but it's very much not what you would expect. Um, it is it is a romantic comedy, and it takes place in a high school. The main characters are high schoolers, and I'll give you guys the logline for that. It says a faithfully rooted teen and questionable new believer are forced to confront their flaws when their unexpected connection leads them to redefine faith and judgment. And so this story, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's really still being developed, but I think you guys will find this one very entertaining. I'm very I really like this one too. So I'm not going to talk too much about that one though. If you guys have questions, just ask. And then the last future project I want to mention is this one. So if you follow my personal um, social media accounts, or if you follow the Pluma Instagram, you will see in the bio there is a another account attached, and it says Septenary Official. And if you go to that page, you will see that I am creating a animated series. So for you guys who like to watch anime or animated like cartoons or anything like that, this will probably be for you guys. But I will say it is not for the weak, story wise. Um, so Septenary is this is I mentioned earlier about my very first story idea. Septenary is my very first story idea, and originally a it was actually supposed to be a feature film, but but like I said, it was my very first idea, and it was back when I just got into filmmaking, and so I didn't know how to write at all back then. And even now, when I go back and look at the old scripts and things, I'm like, oh, that's so bad. But the story and the characters hasn't like changed much from then. It was just like the writing process was really bad. But now I decided to make it into an animated series, and for now I'm kind of um, I decided to make it kind of a challenge for myself to learn how to like animate it myself. I understand like the principles of animations and things like that, but I never really tried animation on my own, and so that's kind of another big project. Of course, animation takes way longer than like a live action, and so don't expect that too soon, but definitely if you guys are interested in like an animated series, definitely go check out the Septenary page. You can get there from the directly from the Pluma Studio Films Instagram page, or you can just um, search Septenary underscore official, and that's the username for Instagram. And you can also there's also a YouTube page under the same username. So if you guys want to hear a little bit more about that, you can find that there. Um, but Septenary is a really big project, and I think it is something that might blow people away story wise. So I have high expectations for um, Septenary. So yeah, that's a couple of the projects that I'm kind of working on at the moment. I'll probably definitely have some more here or there in between those, since those are all pretty big projects. But um, but yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna check the comments now for a second before I continue. Okay, so thank you all for joining in, everybody. I see some people I know. Thank you guys for all your compliments and things. Okay, so a question: when will my next movie be released? Hmm. So if you're talking about the short film that I just did, that one I plan on having out maybe a week or two after today. So you guys can expect that within a week or two. Um, and then in terms of any of the projects that I just mentioned, the next one would be Able, which is the feature film. That one I'm planning. I would really like to get it out maybe sometime next year, or the I'm not expecting the end of this year, a bit soon, unless we can get it fully funded. Um, but if not the end of this year, it would be a little bit sometime next year. I plan on doing that one, so that's gonna be my really big project. Okay, let's see what else. Can't wait for Septenary. Yeah, I can't wait either. Do I have any trailer for Septenary? Unfortunately, I do not have a trailer for Septenary yet, but if you go on the Instagram page or on the YouTube page, there is kind of a like a short like reel, and it kind of tells you a little bit what Septenary is about, and kind of shows you some examples of like locations um, of like the series. And I'll probably do like a live on that page also, talking more details of like the characters and things like that. I'll do like character reveals and all of that. So if you want to know about that, you need to follow that page. I'll put that um, username in the chat. So this is for Instagram and YouTube. Oh, and TikTok. Go in there, you'll see just a lot of me learning how to draw and learning how to animate and things like that. So you're gonna see like the whole process of that series. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna continue a little bit. You guys continue to ask questions and make any comments you need to make. Um, so I just want to talk about a little bit of the future plans for Pluma itself, and not just like the projects, but um, so my biggest goal with Pluma Studio Films is to get or at least the goal I have right now is to first make that big film, feature film, get that funded. It's gonna be a big project, um, but my next goal is to I would really like to get a physical building for Pluma and buy some like land and expand and have like a physical studio where we can make films like on our own sets and build sets and things like that. If you know, um, if you've heard of Capernaum Studios, which is the studio that created The Chosen, or where The Chosen was filmed, the series. Um, I would like to do something similar to that, except it would be kind of more like a modern location where if you have films that are like more more modern, like the films that I have for like live action, then this would be like a space where you would film that kind of stuff, and we would build our own sets. We can host our table reads and meetings and things like that. And so I'm really trying to uh, get into that and just kind of starting small. At least have like a building where I can like have the uh, casting calls and auditions and just general like business meetings and things like that. Um, and then also um, kind of get some like permanent employees, things like that. Because like I said before, I've been doing all this pretty much on my own, and so if there's delays on like output of videos or anything like that, it's just hard to get it all when you're one person. But I'm trying my best for you guys. Um, and then those are just kind of the immediate plans right now for Puma. But if you guys have any other questions, just feel free to ask, and I'll answer those. And then in terms of so I mentioned before that if you want to um, contribute or you know support Pluma in any way, first just it's just as simple as just like sharing films and any like social media posts like that with your friends and family. That's definitely a big help to kind of get the word out about Pluma Studio Films and what we're trying to do. And then if you would like to make any donations for future films, which will be a big help if you guys want to see those films and that series come out. You're gonna need that, but you guys can check out that QR code. You can scan that there, and then or you can also go to the Pluma Studio website, which I actually want to pull that up. So give me 1 second, and I'll pull that up for you guys because I want to talk about the website also. One second. Okay, so if you guys can see my screen, you should be able to see my screen now. So here's the Pluma Studio Films website if you haven't already seen it. Um, so here's where you can kind of see where like we have our projects, our kind of a little bit about Pluma. If you have questions or are interested in working on one of our films, you can just easily send a message here. Um, and you guys can see those upcoming projects. Not all of them are on here currently, but you can see those feature films are on here, and there'll be more information in detail on those. soon. But if you guys want to do the contributions, like I said, you can just come here, and you can also vote for any of the films on like which ones can be or which ones you would like to see next. That definitely helps us and see what kind of content you guys like. And then there's also the donate button here. So if you click on that, it'll just take you straight to um, a payment site here. Yep. And there is a fixed amount, but you can always change that amount because anything helps you guys. Um, but yes, here's the website. You can see what our current work looks like here. Everything, I still need to update it, but everything is here on this page. And you can see our social media links at the bottom here. And then there are some more details that are going to be coming to the page soon. Um, we are going to have some merch, like hoodies and posters and things that you guys can purchase on the Pluma Studio Films website. And if you keep up with our social media and things like that, you'll see when that is going to be on the page. Or if you just keep checking the website, it'll be there soon. Um, and then we have the about page where I just said just goes into a little bit more detail about what Pluma is about and things like that. Um, and then and then you also have the gallery here, which is really nice because you get to see some behind the scenes photos the on set from the short films that we did. So currently on here is the Trip After Christmas, It Takes One, and Expectation. And if you haven't seen those films yet, I recommend you go and watch those um, and kind of see. It's nice because you guys get to kind of see the development of like the quality of content for Pluma as time goes by. And then of course you have your contact page here. So if you guys have anything you would like to say to Pluma Studio Films, you can just email here at plumastudiofilms@gmail.com, and then you have those social media links here also. Right. Okay, let me check the comments again one more time. Okay, let's see. You're a future millionaire. Thank you, Pastor. We'll see about that. What cameras do I need? So, in terms of equipment, um, so currently, I currently have a Blackmagic camera, but um, I'll 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 contact you directly for that. I can't tell you currently what I would need, but any equipment really helps. Cinematic cameras, anything that's equal to a Blackmagic 6K would be good, or just like another one of those is good. Um, let's see. I can't wait to watch more of your movies. Thank you. I can't wait to see my movies also. I'm just like you guys, honestly. Like you guys are the audience. I'm also an audience, even though I'm making my own content. Okay, let's see. Building your legacy, fortify your kingdom, establish your dreams. Yes, that is what Pluma is trying to do. That is what I'm trying to do with Pluma, actually. You have Keyshawn's support as well and wishes you the best. Thank you, Keyshawn, if you're on the live. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. But you guys can definitely keep leaving comments on this video or any of the other videos, and I'll um, maybe do another like Q&A video separate from this to answer any more questions you guys have. Um, but this is just the beginning of Pluma Studio Films. Um, Lots more to come. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And um, yeah, just remember my name, Telia Griffin, Pluma Studio Films. And I think that is the end for today. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers again and for joining on this live. And if you're coming later, thank you for coming. And again, if you have anything you would like to say, just leave it in the comments and I will do another video answering you guys' questions. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to head out now. Goodbye.